So we're at the end of ASROC here. It was an amazing conference. I'm Matt Estremera, one of the founders of Biterra Capital. Overall, great event and met some really great people.
Excellent. I can actually second that. You know, this convention has been actually great, and with QRGL Marketing Inc., we're here for early adoptions. Just been a great session.
Definitely agree. My name is Zack, Chang. I'm an associate for digital asset strategies. We're a cryptocurrency hedge fund based here in Los Angeles, California. I thought it was a great conference. Was able to hear a lot of thought-provoking ideas, as well as network with other entrepreneurs and asset managers as well.
The first session was on exchanges and arbitrage, and we had one of our speakers here, Tim Hustlesweet. He's a data scientist. It was really great to see one of our guys in action. Learned a lot. He cross-communicated with the different panelists, and overall it was great conversation.
Yeah, and I learned a lot from strategies and how you take a lot of the data and a lot of the information and the consensus and some of the moods of how people are thinking. I think that's phenomenal. Never even thought of that, taking some data and put it together in some of the trading.
Right.
Matt, what did you think of the automated trading bots?
The trading bots and artificial intelligence is something that we're really interested in utilizing at Biterra Capital. Just the technology and the work behind the bots itself and the algorithms that go into the tweaking was really interesting to hear the different techniques that different traders, it seems like everyone who builds a bot has their own bot, performs differently, whether it's a steady market or it's volatile. There's different strategies there.
Exactly. You know what I got out of this convention here is definitely the bots are really important in trading and bringing liquidity, and it's just amazing how a lot of people don't see it that way, but I definitely see the bots as a real big tool in keeping the market and the liquidity going, and then totally confident in this now after this convention. This has been awesome for me, and it's just an eye-opener for me.
I agree. Sometimes the bots have a...
they have use and drives the market too, and protects the market as well, as far as I'm concerned.
One point I might add also is with AI and trading bots and stuff like that, I think it really enables hedge funds and asset managers to really take advantage of different opportunities in the market, given the fact that there aren't those technologies available right now. With the development of these technologies and the implementation of it, I really think you'll see a rise in alpha strategies moving forward.
And I think that the average user doesn't even know that there's trading out there that's out there for cryptocurrencies, and there's bots out there. And I really believe that the message with these kind of conferences will bring that awareness, and I think it's really big in the space of digital currency.
I definitely agree. The fact that you don't have to be there to push the buy and sell button every 5 minutes, these bots are able to do that, whether they're trading once a day or 20 times in a single day. You're going to see some really great results with these things.
So session 3 was a panel on coin trading strategies. I was rather curious about this one, just to hear about the different strategies being implemented and the sentiment of other traders in the space. I found it interesting on the certain points brought up about short-term trading strategies, where me personally, I try to shy away from short-term trading strategies. I'm more of a long-term investor. So, I mean, do you...
Well, I've got a point. I'm a long-term investor too, but I just now believe after this convention that there is a spot for short trading, and just the percentages, what the guys were saying, you should put a percentage of your portfolio into short trading, and then you can actually, there's some funds that could be made there in digital currency.
What did they say? It was about 25%?
25%.
Look at 25%
of your portfolio.
Right.
Yeah. And I think that's a really good point.
I totally agree that there's definitely opportunities out there for smaller cap coins that have a lot more short-term momentum. But I think the question really comes down to is liquidity. You know, you can take a large position, a large speculative position in a smaller coin. But to me, getting out of that position is probably my biggest concern moving forward.
Well, I think that more tools have to be in place so that people can get out of those positions,
yes,
in and out of those positions, Zack. And let's face it, most people are into digital currency for the long term because they don't understand that there's tools that are being made to help the liquidity, and liquidity will make and rise the coins. And we need all those systems to be in place, including bots, and people just need to understand that they're out there. And I think this convention will definitely help as we start to market it more and more.
So in the fourth panel today at ASROC, we had USDT, gold-backed, and similar cryptocurrencies, fundamentals and challenging the notion of stability. I personally loved this panel. I thought there was a very wide range of opinions on this. Me in particular, I was most curious about the conversation on stablecoins and people's opinion on which stablecoins will last, whether they'll exist at all. I mean, maybe you want to.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different conversations on whether or not, we talked about Tether, we talked about True USD, and even with some of the stable coins, whether Tether or not was a scam. I don't know if we're going to really see a stable coin until the market really kind of adopts and sees what the value is really behind these coins. You know what I mean? So, is it something that's backed by gold? Is it something that's backed by the US dollar? Everyone had a different opinion on how that was going to, how that was going to go in the future. What we were going to see out of these coins. Matt, you want to go on that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, the discussion was about mostly the stabilization of cryptocurrency in itself. Like where do we see that playing now? We have a lot of cryptos that are backed by gold, but when are we going to see that rebound from the market? We're in a downtrend right now. Or do we hit a plateau, and then are we going to see a change in adoption to stabilized currencies, or are stable currencies going to play a major factor?
Well, I'm new to this space as far as stable coins. That's the first time I've actually heard of stable coins. I didn't hear of stable coins until I came to this convention, and now it's definitely got my attention, and I think it's really, really important for the future and to see how it gets adopted and how different organizations and exchanges put some value to those coins and whether that's going to back your assets or not.
Right, and there's still money to be made in the stable coin. Absolutely. It doesn't have to be such a volatile market that you're trading on.
Would you think that there is that it will stabilize it and it won't be as volatile, because then you could sell your currency and put it in the stable coin and we'll keep it that level? It's something I want to just want to do some more research, and I'll definitely be keeping my attention to that.
What I'm a little interested in is to see what kind of assets are going to be backing these stable coins, the different types of assets, and that's kind of going off what I was saying, the dollar versus gold. What are the other types of assets that we're going to see backing these coins to actually stabilize them? And I think it's going to be pretty interesting going forward.
Yeah, no, and to your point, I really think the conversation has been surrounded by tokenizing commodities, but it's to me, there's so much more that can be tokenized. You can tokenize all assets in theory. Yeah. And me in particular, I'm most curious about tokenizing existing share classes, moving forward. I mean, with the new wave of security token offerings, I think this is an opportunity, for the market to actually invest to invest directly into blockchain projects and actually have an equity share in it, rather than having a utility token speculation.
Awesome. All right, I think there was another really great point from Matt Rones, reporter at Bitcoin, Bitcoinist, brought up a really great point. I believe it was him. The fact that ICOs have raised so much money to this point, and a lot of them are still in development. So the fact that 2017 was the year of the ICO, 2018 is starting to settle down, but these projects that are in development are going to be releasing their betas and their projects soon, and I think that's really going to drive some adaption into the market, and we might see a stabilization that technology is actually implemented, and you see that money being put to use.
That was my point.
Yeah, that's it. I got that wrong.
Tether crashing. That's definitely been something that has been a concern for many people involved in crypto for the past year. I guess I posed the question to you guys. I mean, if Tether were to crash tomorrow, what do you think would happen? Not only to the price of Bitcoin, but just all cryptocurrency in general.
Well, I think it'll have a short-term effect and it'll go down, but from what I got today, which makes a lot of sense, this is global, and it's just going to be a small percentage, and it'll rebound right back. But it'll definitely be an impact, and I agree there will be an impact, but a few days later, it'll come right back, and especially with the stabilization currencies and everything else that's coming in back currencies, and I think that will change the whole aspect of things. That's what I got out of it, and I could be wrong, but that's my opinion.
Definitely. I think Katya brought up a really good point. I believe she's from P2P Capital. She mentioned a lot of people are scared of Tether completely demolishing the market if they're fraudulent, right?
Right.
But the fact is they're most likely not, if they're not dollar for dollar,
they got to be a percentage.
Then it's a percentage. It's not zero. Yeah. It's going to be 70 or 80% that's backing their coin. So as much as we will see a crash, it will probably rebound fairly quickly. And yes, they will be fraudulent, but at an 80% fraud instead of a 100%.
Here's what I say. Cryptocurrency was here before Tether. It's going to be here after Tether. So,
That's a great point.
Yeah.
Now, for me personally, I think it's an opportunity for other stablecoin projects out there, like Basecoin, for example, to rise to the occasion. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, what were we talking about? Who brought up the transparency point on their site?
What was that?
If we see,
That was Ronaldo that said they're totally
For true
transparent
USDT
about
came out.
everything, the trading and the bots. That's what I got out of that. But I think everybody being totally transparent is a big thing in this community, and the more that we're totally transparent, whatever aspect that you're in, it's definitely going to help the whole space.
And it's built on top of transparency. I think it really comes down to accountability, right?
Yeah.
Well, and I also, it's something that I really believe in digital currency and in trading and whatnot. It's the community and how the community feels. And, hearing some of your folks that are on your staff that say, take the way people feel and their moods and the sentiment of what's out there in the community is really, really important to put into the trading aspect of digital currency right now, because there's no returns. There's no earnings to go
definitely.
based on.
I mean, and sometimes it's not just about, although we're at a trading conference, which is amazing, it's about the technology behind cryptocurrency,
100%.
which is the blockchain. Every project is very open source. I mean, most projects years ago are just hidden. Their technology is hidden. Now we're building on open source platforms. People can build on that, and I think it's really going to just drive technology to the next level.
Well, I think it's an exciting space to be in right now, because right now is a little bit of a lull, and everybody's putting more time into the technology instead of the price of the actual coin. And
Which
I think it's
is a
for all of
good
us.
thing.
It's a very good
thing.
thing.
Yes.
100%. That's what I get out
We
of
need
it.
to see
Early adoptions
Yeah.
of everybody and getting everybody into the space.
I almost feel like we're going to see a stabilization across the market as a lot of the coins that have no use start to kind of fizzle out, and the coins that actually have some kind of technology or use case behind them stick around, and those coins will have value and stabilize.
And add more credibility to the whole space.
Exactly.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
Great point.
For the final panel, it was more of an open floor debate, and my favorite part of it was the fact that we had beer. I've never been to an event where there was beer served in the last panel.
I could second that. I've had a few beers, but it's been fun and it's been great. I've had food. I've never been fed.
Yeah.
Had coffees and beers and exciting and chips and
Panelists were drinking a few beers. The audience was drinking a few beers. It really kind of opened up the discussion, and
kept everybody loose.
yeah, it made things
Straight
a little
up.
loose, and it was a great way to end it there.
Yeah. So I think the biggest takeaway from me in that panel was, I think overall the consensus was a bullish sentiment towards the long-term view of cryptocurrency and where it's going. I mean, do you guys maybe want to add to that?
I agree 100%, and I definitely think it's bullish, and the tools and everything that's coming into place, and of course with everything that's going on with custodial wallets, and as they start growing in the hedge funds and all the futures, those are all parts and parcels. And you made a very good point about derivatives, and that's going to add more liquidity. When you have liquidity, that just makes the market that much more stronger. So I couldn't agree more.
And it's also too, like, I think it's a fair way to see who's on the other side of trades, who's betting against you. That's another way of getting the sentiment of the market.
You get the feel of the market.
Yeah, more transparency.
Absolutely.
Right. I really like something you said earlier. It was describing the fact that the traditional markets will be coming in soon. They're not quite there, but as Bitcoin starts to stabilize and cryptocurrency starts to stabilize at a lower cost, that's a perfect entrance point into these more corporate-style companies, the big names, the big wigs coming into play, and that's just going to pump the market right back up.
And I'm also going to state, that the more that we educate the consumers or the mainstream that there is a trading platform and they should be trading, because I think a lot of people think about taking digital currency and just holding it. Don't realize, and I got to be, this is a new space. I've traded before multiple currencies and securities and whatnot, but never digital currency. But now I have a different outlook, and now that there's tools out there, and I think the more that we educate people that there is things out there that's going to bring liquidity to it, and that there's trades. Everybody likes to do trades. Everybody likes to get into. I mean, look at the stock exchange. Look at all the forex. Look at the futures market. I don't believe there's enough information for the mainstream to know that there's this trading platform, and the more that you can tell them that you can take your assets and turn it to liquidity or a stable coin or whatever, you're going to get more people in this trading platform. That's going to make it exciting. exciting for everybody and bring liquidity.
And to your point, cryptocurrency can be accessed by anyone and everyone, so there's no reason why you should not participate in it.
Exactly.
It'd be foolish not to.
Blockchain doesn't sleep.
Anything.
Cryptocurrency doesn't sleep.
24/7.